The harder you work, the less likely you are to be promoted. That is not a motivational quote. It's a warning. Not because you are unlucky, not because you are invisible, but because the system is designed to keep you exactly where you are. Because moving you would break the system. Have you ever noticed that the person who barely does their job is the one getting the promotion? Meanwhile, you are left behind with an even larger workload and a thank you email that doesn't pay the bills. This is not an accident or a mistake by HR. It is a calculated systemic outcome called the performance paradox. In the modern workplace, being too good at your job is the quickest way to get stuck in it. Your excellence has become an anchor rather than a ladder to your next step in the corporate hierarchy. Today, we are going to deconstruct why your competence is being used against you and how you can break the cycle. The first reason for this is what we call the indispensability trap, a psychological cage built by your own success. And your manager is not rewarded for your growth. They are rewarded for your containment. Managers are usually evaluated based on stability and risk mitigation within their specific departments. If you are the only one who truly understands how the system works, moving you creates a massive risk for your immediate boss. From a manager's perspective, promoting you creates two major problems they would rather avoid at all costs. They would have a vacancy they cannot easily fill, and a system they can no longer control without your constant presence. They prefer to keep you in the trenches because you are the one holding the line every single day. Your reliability has made you a critical component of the machinery. And critical components are never promoted. They are protected, contained, and used until failure. Think of it like a high-performance engine in a factory or a critical piece of equipment in a deep-sea mine. As a mining engineer, I have seen this play out 1,000 times on the field and in the office. If a machine is running at 110% capacity without breaking down, no manager wants to upgrade it or take it offline for a move. And the system always protects the machine, not the operator. They will run that machine until metal fatigue sets in and the system eventually reaches a catastrophic point. And no one promotes a machine. They just run it harder. But the issue goes deeper into the cold, hard economics of employee replacement and training costs. It is much cheaper for a company to give you a 5% raise and a top performer certificate than to hire 2 people to replace you. By being a high achiever, you are essentially doing the work of 2 or 3 average employees by yourself without complaining. Promoting you is not a reward decision, it is a loss calculation. If they promote you to a strategic role, they suddenly need to find and train multiple people to do what you did alone. You are literally too profitable in your current position to be allowed to move up the ladder. Now, let's talk about the psychology of perception and how leadership views your daily output. High achievers often become the firefighters of the company, always seen in the middle of a crisis with their sleeves rolled up. When leadership looks at you, they see someone who is great at executing tasks, but not necessarily someone who can lead people. You think you are building a reputation for excellence, but in reality, they are just assigning you a permanent role in the system. They often confuse your technical mastery with a lack of strategic vision or high-level thinking needed for the boardroom. You are seen as the ultimate doer, and in the corporate hierarchy, doers are usually controlled by thinkers. This leads us to a phenomenon known as performance punishment, where the reward for good work is simply more work. If you finish your tasks early, you aren't sent home. You are given the tasks that the underperformers couldn't finish. In this system, the reward for finishing early is not freedom. It is more chains. And the more you prove you can handle, the more they prove they don't need to promote you. Over time, the company shifts the burden of the entire department onto your shoulders because they know you won't let the ball drop. This creates a cycle where you are too busy doing the busy work to ever focus on strategic projects. You are not stuck because you are failing. You are stuck because you are succeeding too well. You are being punished for your efficiency by being buried under the weight of everyone else's incompetence. This punishment is often framed as a compliment, making it even harder for you to push back. This is where the curse of reliability starts to erode your professional value and your mental health. When you always say yes and always deliver perfect results, people stop valuing your effort and start expecting it as the baseline. Your extra mile becomes the new standard, meaning you have to work even harder just to get noticed. Meanwhile, the person who does 70% of the work but spends 30% of their time networking is seen as more strategic. They are building influential relationships while you are buried deep in spreadsheets that no one will ever read. You think you're building a reputation. They're assigning you a role. In toxic or traditional workplaces, this situation is often masked by emotional manipulation and corporate family language. You might hear phrases like, "We are a family," or "We really trust you with this." But these are often just tools for exploitation. These environments reward success with more intense work rather than more authority or better compensation. If you do not set clear boundaries, the system will continue to consume your energy until you have nothing left to give. From a stoic perspective, you have given them control over your career by trying to be too indispensable. So, how do you escape this paradox without actually damaging your career or getting fired in the process? The first step is to stop being the only person who knows how to do what you do every day. You must start documenting your processes and training your colleagues to handle minor crises without your direct intervention. If the system cannot function without your physical presence, you will never be given the freedom to leave that system. You must create a vacancy in your current role before you can realistically expect to fill a new, better one. The second step is to shift your focus from technical excellence to strategic visibility and high-level networking. Stop solving every minor problem in silence and making it look easy to the people sitting above you. Make sure leadership understands the strategic value of the solutions you provide, not just that the job got done on time. Start attending the meetings where decisions are made instead of just the ones where tasks are assigned. You need to be perceived as a leader who uses tools rather than a tool used by the leaders. You might also need to learn the subtle art of controlled availability in areas that aren't your top priority. Scarcity creates value. Unlimited access destroys it. This means clearly demonstrating that you cannot and should not be responsible for every single task in the office. Every time you run to catch a falling ball, you are teaching your management that they don't need to fix the broken system. Set boundaries on your output and demand the proper title or authority before taking on permanent extra responsibilities. Finally, you must adopt a stoic mindset regarding your professional performance and your daily output. The company's quarterly efficiency goals are not a reflection of your personal worth as a human being. If you are constantly working at 110%, that is not a sign of your strength. It means the system has adjusted itself to exploit your capacity. Boundaries are not just for your work-life balance. They are essential for your professional preservation. If you don't put a ceiling on what you give, they will never feel the need to move you up to the next floor. Remember, the ultimate goal is not to be indispensable. It is to be necessary but replaceable by others you have trained. You want to be the architect who designed the building, not the pillar that is holding up the entire roof. If the pillar moves, the building falls, so the builder will never let that pillar go. But the architect can walk away and build a new structure anywhere they choose with their own tools. Stop spending all your energy being the engine and start investing that energy into becoming the driver of your own life. The corporate ladder is not a fair reward system for hard work. It is a game of strategic positioning. If you feel like you are running in place, it's probably because you have become the very engine that keeps the whole machine moving. It is time to stop being the component and start being the operator who knows exactly how the machine works. Your competence should be your ticket to freedom, not the walls of your own prison cell. Take control of your trajectory by realizing that your value is defined by you, not by the tasks you finish. And if you're still the hardest worker in the room, ask yourself one question: who benefits from that? Because if the answer is not you, you already know what needs to change.